I want to talk about some questions that folks have that I've been asked a lot this week. Some emails that I get. Folks knew that I was going to be having this segment, so I received some emails on this. Some have been texted to me, as well as questions that I hear out in the field whenever I'm with clients. So I want to cover four questions that are very popular out there, and then refer some good books for you to get yourself going for this year in a better manner. All right. So the first question has to do with the whole issue of onboarding. Okay. How long should onboarding take, and what's a good onboarding process? All right, that has a lot of moving parts, but there's a misunderstanding about what onboarding is. Normally, we think of onboarding as the phase between when somebody enters the company, their first day on the job, and then perhaps 2 to 3 weeks later when we have onboarded them and done some initial training. Okay, a lot of companies don't even do that. So if you're doing that and that's onboarding for you, then fantastic. But a proper and a more effective way of looking and how to create a good onboarding program is you got to expand your view of what onboarding is. A good onboarding begins when you first put the ad or the posting about the position. And it includes the recruiting, the first day on the job, the training, and up to 6 months of coaching and mentoring to ensure that each one of those new team members have become or are becoming high performance team members by month 3, month 4, month 5. The misconception is that the onboarding process is just the first couple of weeks or the first 90 days. There's a really good book out there called The First 90 Days, in which he explains that it's a myth that 90 days is a right way to determine whether somebody is a good performer. He does a really good study, which we agree that it's a 6-month process. And in that 6-month process, in order to make sure that you onboard people correctly, your managers, your HR department, helps recruit, they drive the recruiting, but when they finish that first week or second week of training, which is overseen by HR, then those new team members are then handed over to the managers, and it is the responsibility of the managers to have weekly, bi-weekly sit-down coaching sessions with the team members, updating them on their progress, reviewing their performance, and that continues on to the 4th, the 5th, the 6 months. And in that time frame, managers should be able to coach and mentor team members to great success. All right, so hopefully that helps out. All right, so a little related to that, the second question I often get asked is, how do I find good people? All right, and so it's very difficult to find good people, without a doubt, okay? However, we tend to make it a lot more complicated because we have a really short patience factor on how to find and how to recruit individuals. So it starts with a good ad. You have to put a good ad out there that speaks about your culture, that speaks about the excitement, the innovation, the energy within the culture, a real short description about the position. You may or may not want to put salary ranges. There's different views on it. We tend to be okay just depending on what the clients want. We see benefits for both. You give them clear instructions as to what their next step is, and then once they get that, they send that resume in. That's when you start finding out whether you have a good process internally to find good people. So the first thing you do is you got to realize that you have to put resumes in a lot of different places to get a lot of resumes in, and then quickly vet through the resumes and identify the top 10 or 20 individuals. Now, the thing about it is that in your ad, you have to give them very good, clear instructions. You have to say something like this. If you would, a good candidate for this position sends their resumes to such and such address, including a cover letter, okay? And you might want to put, and call us at this phone number, okay? We do that all the time. Why? Because if they send a resume, we will consider them. If they send a cover letter as they were instructed, we will consider them. And if they place a phone call, we will consider because they followed instructions, okay? If they don't follow instructions for that phase of the process, we don't consider them. So you vet those out really fast, because if they didn't call you, you do not consider them. Then when you talk to them for a 5-10 minute to make sure that you have all your information, you tell them what the next step is. And you tell them, listen, we're going to review this. You're welcome to follow up with us. Give us a couple days back and we'll notify you. Okay, and the next phase of your process is we're going to let you talk to the HR department, and then we'll let you talk to to one of our supervisors, and then you'll eventually talk to the executives, and then you'll come into and do some shadowing. And right there, when they realize that you have a lengthy process where they're going to meet one person, they're going to have a conversation with one person or a second person, and then perhaps the third step is an interview, and then perhaps a second interview, and then perhaps me come in and do some shadowing. Right there, right off the bat, they disqualify themselves, because folks that don't want to go through that much vetting, they don't want to have the type of transparency, they will not call you back. Okay, and if they do not call you back, you don't follow up with them. Okay, so instead of creating a process in which you're chasing people, you tell them about the process and you invite them to notify you if they're interested. So at the first conversation, after you review their resumes, our team talks to them real briefly for about 5-10 minutes. We review the job description and then we tell them, okay, this is the process. If you're interested, shoot us an email if you're interested, and we'll consider you, and then hang up and then see what they do. And if they shoot you an email within the next day or follow up that yes, they want to go through the process, and you feel their resume fits what you're looking for, then you pass them on to the next step. And the next step, likewise, you thank them, you bring them through the interview process or through the review of the resume, and you let them know that, hey, if you'd like to be considered, let us know. And then if they contact you back, then you move on. Those that do not contact you back and do not show a proactive interest in your position, then you don't have them move to the next level. If you put the onus on the candidate, the folks that are really good, they're going to rise to the occasion and they will let you know, hey, I want to get in. That's how you find good people. But if you're chasing and all you do is chase folks and you create a passive responsibility on their part, then you'll never find any good people because you're doing all the work. Okay, when we hire and we help our clients recruit, when we do the recruiting for them, we set up a process and the expectations that they have to jump in and be noticed. And we let them know the process. We let them know that there's 15, 20, 30 other people applying for the job, and those that want it jump up, and those that are really good candidates, they want the position, they'll make themselves known. So therefore, you don't have to, quote, find good people. You just find interested individual. You set the standards real high. You set a good process. You let them know their responsibility on it, and the good people within your whole bunch of candidates will rise to the occasion and get notified. That's how you find good people. All right, so where do you start? As a team, to build your high performance team is ask yourself this question, do you have any openings right now in your team? If you have openings in your team, you have to fill those up. You cannot build a high performance team if you have 7 positions and you have 2 open and you've been spending a lot of time trying to find them and you can't fill them. You have to fill in those 2 positions in order for your team to grow. You can't expect a baseball team, if you can't find a replacement for your first baseman, expect the second baseman to cover both bases. That's not going to work, all right? So put all these thoughts together, but that's how you start creating a high performance team. Making sure that all the spots in your department are filled. There's no shortcut to that. You have to do that. All right. And so lastly, some reading recommendations. Here's some of the books that I would recommend that you tackle. Okay. First of all, the 2 books that I wrote are Journeying in the Storm and Building High Performance Teams. If you want to get a good view of what my program's all about and how we help clients and companies become more aligned and more focused, here are the 2 books you want to read. Easy to read. You can purchase these very easily on our website. They're very inexpensive. They're less than $9. Give them to all your managers. Create a conversation, and a lot of incredible resources with links to the website to where you can download material. Contact us if you want us to help you implement these, but these will get you going. All right, the third book I want to encourage you to read is this one. Why Don't You Want What I Want? This is not a new book. It's an old book, but it's like they say, it's an oldie, but it's a good one, all right? It deals with the issue of how to present good ideas, all right? Why don't you want what I want? Why? I think it's a good idea. Why don't you want what I want? And it deals very practically with the many traps that we place on ourselves when we're presenting ideas, and how we are our worst enemies because we don't know how to present ideas and we over rely on PowerPoints. All right, so that's the other good book to read. This one I would not make it per se a reading book. I would make it like a resource material. Go get it, hot off the shelf. Came out in September of last year. It's The Manager. It's got some of the best standard do's and don'ts and the best business practices. It's put out by the Gallup poll. I eat this up. I chew on it. I love it. This is my second or third copy. It's in some portions sort of a republication of some of their other publications, but really good stuff. Highly recommended. All right, that's the end of our show today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, give me a holler, and I look forward to seeing you next week. My name is Maurice with the Team Real World, and catch you guys later. Thanks for joining us.